Ever dream of quitting your day job and taking the trip of a lifetime?
We just gained entry to China. Woohoo!
Ever wish you could ditch the guidebook and go straight to where the locals go?
We're going to a forbidden place. It's called Gypsy Island.
I'm Tim.
I'm Thomas, and This Is My City is our travel show.
The way we want to see the world is through the eyes of the people who live in it.
Hi, I'm Jai Lindsay.
I'm Marko Marovic.
I'm London.
Jag heter Vidar.
So in each episode, we find a complete stranger in a city somewhere in the world and spend a weekend with them.
Asim Kakse Beirut.
Das ist Berlin.
This is Melbourne.
They take us to their favorite places.
We're gonna go to the lighthouse. It's my favorite place in the town.
It's Berlin's biggest ping pong round.
We are going to the back street of Central Business District.
They introduce us to local customs.
What are we doing now, Joe?
We're going four-wheel drive.
Here we eat meat in 1,000 different forms.
This is a good way to clean your system and get naturally high.
They share priceless local knowledge.
We're all hammered. Everybody needs a kebab.
Parking lot built in 80s.
We're going to a 4-star toilet. 4-star, you get me?
We meet their friends, their families, and some other people too.
No guidebooks.
This is like the old Reykjavik, and over there you have the new Reykjavik.
No camera crew.
Wait. Focus. We got a focus issue.
No sleep.
The dawn is a beautiful time.
No saying no.
I could not ever imagine doing that on a regular basis.
It's a story about two friends
I'm gonna kill you at some point. I'm gonna kill you.
who learn about the world through new friends.
This weekend is gonna just get better. I promise.
Season 1 of This Is My City will take you on an epic journey to meet 9 locals in 9 cities around the world.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Thomas, and this is Tim. And I'd just like to say thanks very much to Chicago Ideas Week for having us. And also thanks to our fellow speakers. We're honored to be in your company. Also thanks to Keith for the glowing introduction. It was glowing, wasn't it?
Like a light bulb. Yeah.
Now, in order to get here, we've not crossed any large expanses of ice, nor have we swum to the bottom of any oceans in futuristic contraptions, nor have we swum any distances in open water. Actually, why are we here?
Good question.
I mean, we're just two everyday run-of-the-mill explorers who use public transportation. Well, I think we're here because rather than being explorers of the natural world, we explore the man-made world. We explore cities. And now buildings can be cool, and Chicago is a prime example of that, but they're also inanimate, and they're not very chatty. So when it comes to discovering the heart and soul of a place, we think it's all about the people. And if we were to really want to get to know Chicago, we'd start with the people. Our mission is to explore the world through the people who live in it, and that's exactly what we get up to in our travel show, This Is My City. So today, we're going to talk to you a little bit about our particular method of exploration and try to show you that even though we're less extreme explorers, we've made some interesting discoveries by approaching travel in this way.
So, hello, everyone. So Thomas and I met in New York in 2004, and we became fast friends. And the idea for the show came about when we were traveling together, and we quickly realized that the best way to get to the heart of a new place was to talk to the locals. You know, it yielded far better results than a guidebook, and it was just a hell of a lot of fun. So the show, it's just us. We shot it, we edited it, we produced it, we're in it, we funded it, we're promoting it, built the website, the whole business, you know? And we're going to release it online in January. So we decided to put our theory into action and shoot a pilot episode in Reykjavik, Iceland. And we arranged to meet with a local named Vidar, who was a local Icelandic Viking that was going to show us around Reykjavik for a weekend. So what happened that weekend was probably, to this day, one of the greatest weekends of my life, and it made for a rather compelling pilot episode. So we thought we discovered a nice way to travel the world and wanted to share that with people. So we decided to quit our day jobs and travel the world and shoot an 8-episode season. And let's see, where am I? All right. So in our 11-week journey around the world, we met a ton of people. And, so to give you an example of one of those characters, let's go to Belgrade, Serbia. Our host, Marko Marovic, insisted that his friend Dracula be our bodyguard for the weekend. Yeah, So we didn't think we needed a bodyguard. I mean, we're tough-looking dudes, right? Yeah, look at us. But we obviously said yes to this because, firstly, we have a rule that says we're not allowed to say no to anyone, or our hosts. And secondly, like, who wouldn't want this dude as their bodyguard for the weekend, you know? So let's meet Dracula.
We went to Manja, a very traditional Serbian restaurant.
Welcome you guys. Wish a pleasant stay and to become part of Belgrade people like we are, you know.
And we met our bodyguard, Dracula. A couple of weeks before we arrived here, Marco suggested that we should have some protection, and he had a friend, Dracula, who he suggested for the role.
Oh man, Dracula's badass, dude. Dracula's badass. That man loved to slug down beers. He was basically a chimney. He would just constantly have smoke coming out of his mouth. It turns out that he's actually quite a legend here. He was in a punk band.
Directory were one of the greatest bands in the 90s in the punk rock music. They were real rebellious guys. He spoke about the mentality of Serbs, and they had a lot of problems because of that, you know.
So our bodyguard is a actual musical legend in Belgrade.
Yeah. So we didn't shoot our show on a potato, so it doesn't usually look like that. I don't know really what's going on here. But so in short, people are the key to places. And, you know, Marco introduced us to tons of people while we were in Belgrade, with Dracula being one of them. But with this social immersion, we ended up leaving Belgrade with a better understanding of the place. And, you know, we're interested in a city's underbelly and its secrets and the hidden gems that only the locals know about. You know, we want to experience the things that you're not going to read about in guidebooks. And, you know, we're not interested in the city's sights, we're interested in its soul, so that's why we put the people first when traveling.
With this approach to traveling, you don't just get to see a place, you get to see somebody's very particular and personal version of that place. It's a much more intimate experience, and you really get to see someone's point of view. Our host, Becky Orpin in Melbourne, Australia, she was an artist, a graphic designer, jewelry maker, and a mother of two. And her work features a lot of imagery from nature, a lot of animals, specifically animals that you see in urban environments. You know, animals such as dingoes, owls, penguins, unicorns, typical urban beasts. So one of the things that Becky wanted to show us in Melbourne was very personal to her and also a source of artistic inspiration. You can also be sure it's not written up in your average guidebook. So we're just going to have a look at that in it.
Becca, she said she was going to take us to see the flying fox bats at dusk.
On the way to the bats, we had to pick up some Jack Daniels because...
You got to have whiskey when you're going bat watching.
Yeah, if you're going to watch the bats, you got to have something.
The bats are in a suburb called Studley Park.
Oh, they're gonna come. They're flying east to get the fruit. We're gonna intercept.
We got there just as they were like filling the sky, coming up from the river valley, and it was really cool looking.
And at first it just looked like birds, and then when you actually watch one go over your head and you see its wings spread out, you realize, like, dude, that is a bat and it's big. Something that Becky really likes, because she really likes animals, and she gets inspired by animals in her designs and stuff. So that's something that was very special to her and unique to that city.
definitely had apocalyptic visions.
So when Becky mentioned the flying fox bats to us as a possible idea, something to do, we were like, yes, it's unique, it's different, it's very particular to Melbourne, and it's personal to you. We'd absolutely love to do that. So I think when you put people first in traveling, and you spend quality time with locals and make new friends, there's a conversation, a sharing of ideas rather than a one-way experience. Traveling becomes active rather than passive, and the resulting experience is also much more rich and memorable because of that. The visitors' ideas and interests mix and mingle with the locals' interests, and there's mutual benefit. And remember, if you're going bat watching, be sure to bring a bottle of Jack Daniels along.
Yeah. So in Tokyo, our host Tomo's uncle was a master sushi chef known as the Master. And he graciously invited us to come along with him one morning as he went shopping for fish in the Tsukiji Fish Market at 6 a.m. Now, the Tsukiji Fish Market is probably written up in every guidebook, and it's phenomenal, and if you're there, you gotta go. But to see it through the eyes of a local, and in this case, the eyes of an expert, made it that much more interesting.
On Saturday morning, Tomo had arranged for us to meet with the master sushi chef to get a tour of Tsukiji Fish Market.
It's definitely a touristy thing to do. Everyone says you gotta go visit, and I say, yes, you do have to go visit. It's amazing. It's 8 football fields big.
You've never seen as much fish as that in your whole life in one place, and as many crazy sea creatures. There's like sea cucumbers and lobsters and crabs and mackerel hearts. Everything that you could imagine harvesting from the sea is in this one massive market.
I love how this guy's conducting business, like having a conversation, and also killing fish. Just like grabbing a live fish, killing it instantly, cutting its head off, and then putting like a wire down its spinal cord.
The master went from one specific seller to the next. He'd been, shopping there for years, and he'd obviously found the best places. He bought what he wanted to serve that night in his restaurant. It just shows you like how different it is to serve fish in a city like Tokyo, where you have a market like that, which is replenished every day. So much care and respect, I think, given to the fish, and it's all packed and handled really well. And I think that's part of the Japanese character, to be honest. They're so concerned with aesthetic and presentation and how everything looks. And if you treat things with respect and you handle things with care and then you present things beautifully, like, of course it's going to taste great. Of course it's going to taste great.
It did taste great, too. So when you explore the world one local at a time, and you're curious and interested and open, you're going to experience things that you normally wouldn't experience. And if you're curious about the people you meet and interested in their customs, you can learn more about their country as a whole. So traveling in this way, we got into a lot of different, unique situations. Some of them were good, some of them were not so good, but it's all part of the way that we like to explore the world. So when we arrived in Belgrade, our host Marco said, oh, you got to come stay at our house, it's going to be great. Which was great, but he didn't mention that he lived with his mother and their cat in the middle of downtown Belgrade, so that was interesting.
We hung out with Lin, who was 5'0" and definitely had the most colorful bicycle in all of Beijing.
I discovered that the eye was, of course, the most delicious part of this Tokyo delicacy.
I appeared on a Serbian talk show on our very first night in Belgrade.
Craig took us free diving to catch crayfish dinner in Wellington, New Zealand.
I attempted to get lost in a crowd in the Forbidden City.
It was so easy to find Thomas. It was amazing. It was great. So in Beirut, our host Pedros took us into a Palestinian refugee camp to meet his friends that are in a hip-hop group.
And we documented, or at least tried to document, a burlesque life drawing event in Wellington, New Zealand.
It's a tough job, guys.
Our greater mission with this project is to encourage travel. Curious travel, social travel, active travel. The kind of travel that makes you learn more about yourself and more about the world. Travel that I think you could best describe as exploration. And we believe strongly that everyone can be an explorer. You don't have to stray too far to start exploring. You can do it right in your own communities, towns, and cities. It starts with human interaction. Talk to your neighbors, talk to strangers, talk to somebody you don't know once a day. Take a recommendation, go somewhere you haven't been before, do something that's just outside your comfort zone, explore. And when you travel to foreign lands, make it a priority to talk to the people who live there. Do something as simple as asking someone for directions, even if you have a map. Engage with people as much as you can. In doing this, not only will you have fun and get amazing insights about the place you're visiting, you'll also be making the world a better place. Because you'll be single-handedly replacing national stereotypes with real people. And not only is this a great way to travel, it's also a great way to foster cooperation and understanding around the world. Thanks very much.